Hey, welcome to the Carol Butler Show. My name is Carol Butler. Today we're going to learn what is confidence and how do you get it. I'm going to use the women's soccer, the United States women's soccer team, as a great example of what confidence is and what they did to get it, along with myself as an example of being in sales for so many years. Confidence comes from being prepared. And you do not memorize anything. By the way, I'm not talking about performers and theater. You understand that you have something important to share with someone in whatever you're doing, and that because it has your signature on it, everything you always do will have your signature on it. You want to feel good and passionate about whatever it is you're going to do. The quick of it is, you get prepared, then you practice. You have an understanding of what you want to accomplish, and you learn to think on your feet, which is why I said you really don't want to memorize anything. You'll sound canned, and it also makes you more concerned with what you're going to say next than listening to what someone has to say to you. Listening is absolutely something that is a learned skill. We talk over each other all the time because we're so much more concerned with what we have to say that we're not listening to what the other person is saying. Confidence comes from preparation, practice, understanding what you're trying to accomplish, thinking on your feet, and never memorizing anything unless you're in theater. And you focus on whatever it is that you're doing at the moment and listening to someone else. I mentioned last week that I wanted to cover intentionality because that has everything to do with feeling confident. Intentionality is expectation with exclamation marks. Live in expectancy if you wish to see your desires manifest. To have intention is to make a decision on what your end goal would look like and set about reaching it and believing it's already there. I said that last week. On the larger scale, looking at life itself, it means choosing what one wants for one's life rather than accepting that what you're experiencing now and what you feel you have been given is all there is. Now, that could be enough for you. You could be perfectly content with every facet of your life. I'd find that unbelievable. But if you are perfectly content, I would suggest that there is even better awaiting you. It all starts with the whispers of your soul. The goal of the soul is to constantly expand. So frankly, there is nothing else to do but entrap it, stagnate it, or spread your arms and heart wide open and keep growing with the adventure of your life, and that means being confident. Honestly, most of us feel those little tugs of malcontent and want a more meaningful life wherever we find ourselves. Pay attention, as always, that is free, and intend to experience all that you possibly can, if only for the reason it is part of the thrilling experience of living as a spiritual being in a human body. Having goals moves you in the direction you want to go. Choose to have goals that have a time element. Otherwise, life passes and your direction is stagnant. I imagine then that God has a sense of humor and doesn't sit around hoping something different will happen. So neither should you. God, just like Santa Claus, knows as us what we are thinking. You can't really lie to the universe. That includes all of us. How many times can you recall sensing the intentions, what you probably called the real intentions of someone you trusted, someone who was trying to rip you off on a sale, or the insincere professions of love? The universe is telepathic, meaning we sense truth and falsehoods. So trust your gut, trust your instincts. That has always been good advice. Trust what you intend, as long as you intend it with believing it is your divine right, and you will bring it about. Yes, you are that powerful. To have intention is to have your faith, your belief directed to appear. Intentionality is the weight you give your thoughts, which makes them form into something material. And it all gets back to knowing who you really are. Your God force in your conscious thoughts. Your conscious thoughts convince your subconscious whatever you think is true. And then that invisible self of you, your subconscious self, delivers the good or bad creation you have imagined, because the subconscious does not question if it's good or bad. The subconscious does not judge if your thoughts are beneficial to you or to others. It just fulfills your intentions, because that is one of the universal principles or laws. Intentionality is a key to bringing you what you think about, like winning with these soccer women. They are convinced they will win. They are totally focused, and they've practiced, and they know, and that's where they get their confidence. Work on getting rid of fearful thoughts. Don't worry about accidents or cancer or financial collapse, for instance, or losing a game, because what you think about, you expand, you draw to you. Instead, learn to train your mind. Think of that which you would like to see and experience, despite contrary evidence shown to you by your physical senses. We're talking about bringing about, manifesting, creating your reality from simply thinking about it with emotion. If you worry, you are wasting time thinking about things you don't want. Cultivate your thoughts to dwell on only the things you wish to come about. It takes the same energy to focus on what you want as it does to focus on things you don't want. Make the positive choice. My life is more defined by how I feel about what I do than what I actually do. And that's the big thing I want to share with you about being confident. I used to tell, when I was training salespeople who said, I don't understand why you don't shake before we go in. I'm a wreck. I don't want to fail. I don't know how to not get over the nervousness that I feel. And my remark was always, almost sarcastically, because I wanted to get their attention, I said, get your mind off yourself. Get your mind off yourself. You're thinking about what they're thinking of you. We spend so much time worrying about what other people think about us. How do we look? This, that, and the other. Think about what you are there for, what your gift and goal is to be with them, and get your mind off yourself. Once you've made the commitment and you've practiced and you know your goal, you should feel great. You think these soccer players go out on the field hoping that when they get near the net that they don't have a plan? There are 2 or 3 ways I could do this, that they don't have a strategy. There are 2 or 3 ways that I could pass the ball, hit the ball off the inside of my foot, over using my head. They have plans, and they're thinking on their feet, and they're paying attention to the wants and needs of their teammates and the situation as it presents itself to them. I imagine ultimately confidence comes from learning maybe straight drive, how to learn a car with a stick shift. The first time you do it, there's a discoordination about it because you're not sure. Do I push the clutch in and then I pull this? My father used to describe 3 in the tree. Yeah, boy, I never got that concept. Think of an H. I said, that's not helping. And I didn't want to strip the gears, and I didn't want to wreck the car. So I had to mentally envision, finally, first you do this, then you do that, and there was a sequence, there was an order. And that's why when I love presentations, because you can stay on track, still listen to people, and know exactly where you are. If you've got pictures, you don't need every word you're going to say. If you've got a visual representation, you can stay on track and jump right back on it. If you know what you're talking about, if you know as a soccer player what you're doing, you can get right back in the game. I'll confess that I wouldn't feel very confident giving a presentation in my pajamas. I would not feel confident if I did not have the appropriate clothing on for where I was supposed to be. And I certainly wouldn't feel confident if I hadn't taken a bath or shower. There's certain things that you do, and these are things that no one ever talks about, but do whatever it is that makes you feel physically confident. But the main thing is get your head in the game, so to speak. Feel good that what you've got is of value to someone else when you walk in a room in a party, that you are a special God soul. You're just as important as anybody else in that room, and quit being concerned about what other people think about you. Maybe you should be thinking what you think about them. So preparation, practice, and feel great about yourself, because what you know is important to share, and how they play tomorrow and how good they feel, without letting the other soccer players make them feel terrible if they happen to make a mistake. You get back in the game and you're relaxed about it because you do know what you're doing. Give yourself some credit. So in summary, believe in yourself. We all get thrown off a bit, but the world doesn't end because you stammered or Rapinoe misses a goal. Your potential to succeed is based on your ability to appreciate who you are and what you've got to say or do. Just believe in yourself and practice, practice, practice. It makes you feel so confident.